วัสดีครับ Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome 6,000 online users to the Food Ingredient Asia online event. My name is
6,000 เลย
Yeah ครับคุณแซม That's 6,000 ครับ for the registration. My name is Anupong from Informa Market. I will be your MC for the today. In the last session, we were talking about the introduction of the Metaverse, so we can getting to know what it is. And for anyone who did not join the first session, you can watch it again anytime and anywhere at our online platform at the agenda session. In this session, we will dig in deep in food and beverage industry under the topic how Metaverse can help the food industry. The food is something we have to physically touch and taste. So you may wonder how does the Metaverse affect in the food industry and how many food related business have opened it up called the Metaverse. It can create the immersive experience for the consumer while eating. However, what about the food producer? This session will guide you directly to how the Metaverse can integrate into the food industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker today, Mr. Sam, a Metaverse product owner from the Wasabi venture.
Hello. Yes, thank you for the welcome. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. There was some problem with the mic, but now. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the welcome from opportunity from Foods Ingredients Asia for having me back to speak about the topic of Metaverse and food, right? So without further ado, let me quickly share my screen. Yep. Okay. Can you guys see the screen? Yes. Okay. Yep. So yeah, a bit about myself. For today, I'm gonna be talking about how I know that the topic of today was about how we can, help food industry in the metaverse, but I'd like to kind of dig into the bigger picture, of what food industry is in the metaverse. Yep. So a little bit about myself. My name is Sam. I used to be a product designer, designing products, apps, and also service. And then I kind of got into the company called Wasabi Ventures, becoming a Metaverse product owner. So what a product owner in the Metaverse does is, quite a few things, but I'll try to keep it simple. Is that I am the lead in the team, to talk about or to kind of lead the team to success in creating products that relate to the Metaverse, Web3, NFTs, and even back to, the traditional businesses to find ways that they could succeed, in this kind of new era, new generation of tools and domains. Yep. So a little bit about today's agenda. I'll be recapping our last session, from last month, and then talking about the cultural shift in the Metaverse, the transformation of digital, how Metaverse is not about just digitalization, but now, of virtualization, a new age of community. And, lastly, the many use cases that would like to show you guys today, enhancing food experience in the Metaverse. Yeah. So a bit about Wasabi Ventures, or where I work. We are a venture builder, or in other words, startup studio in Thailand. We have our own first product, which is Translucia, that we conceptualized with the team, which is a Metaverse for Thailand. This idea kind of came 2 years ago, a few months before Facebook changed its name to Meta. Our investors, TNB and MQDC, is the big, partners in creating the so-called Translucia brand, and we hope to launch our Metaverse in 2025. We have a few other startups under our umbrella as well. We have a community and academy called the Metaverse Unlimited. We have our crypto token, DAO token for intellectual property called Crown Token. We have a blockchain called Lightning Chain. We have a new generation marketing agency kind of called Vibrate, People Before Tech. And lastly, our own virtual influencer, digital avatars startup called Team Creatures. So yeah, without further ado, I'd like to get into our first agenda, a recap, So from last time, talking about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, we said that one-way communication is boring, two-way communication using the various social media platforms, websites, you have to accept cookies, give some of your data to the brands that you want to get into their website, get to their applications and platforms, and lastly, Web3 or the metaverse, with a question mark there, when people say decentralized, decentralized of data, decentralized of finance, decentralized of gaming, all of those many things, are the crucial keywords or parts. But basically what's happening here is that no one holds your data, it is harder to really track where the money goes or whose money it is, things like that, so that's all happening in Web3. So yeah, if I explain it again, simply, in the days you had to use every website that you want to do something, sometimes you have to use username and passwords. In Web 2, now data is kept with the bigger platforms, and you can sign in to Google, Facebook, and Twitter in many places, and lastly, in Web3 now, it's just about connecting the wallet. So that's how I would kind of simply explain it, and this digital wallet is just a group of numbers and letters. I wouldn't know that, is it Sam on the other side of the digital wallet, so it's a bit more anonymous of who is owning this piece of NFT, who is owning this particular Bitcoin, you will just know that it's somebody's wallet in real life. And in Wasabi Ventures, especially, we like to say it as the metaverse is just a new internet. It's just the same thing, people, places, and products that we already have in internet today, going to the new internet, being avatars, virtual spaces, and NFTs as products. And this is just a digital space where people, places, and things interact or come to spend their time, things like that, So this is just the start, of how things can link together. And adoption, we are in the internet today. Internet is penetrated to, I believe, 90% of the world, and metaverse is just a new start, so it's still in the innovation or early adopter phase for the metaverse here, right? When we talk about how immersive we are, so there's also levels of transferring the whole physical stuff, including a real person, a real product, an on-ground business in the physical world, moving to NFTs and objects, and moving to the metaverse. So we are now around here. This is where we are, our present. We are talking a lot about NFTs, the current internet, digital content, and who knows, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, we'll be, having our digital identity fully in the metaverse. The metaverse, a 13 trillion with a lot of zeros industry. I'm talking in Thailand, so that's even more Thai baht, when we put the zeros together. But kind of this Web3 is the core tech in blockchain, enabling many other things, When you get to link blockchain to gaming, you have GameFi. If you link blockchain to locations, you have those, enabled tracking locations in real time, with traceable information. When you link blockchain to platforms and e-commerce, you have virtual commerce, which you can buy and sell NFTs, which can also be linked to real products. The metaverse needs AR and VR, partially or fully to function, depending on the different platforms. You can use AR on your devices, on your smartphones, or you can immerse through the VR goggles. That's also a possibility. There's definitely communities. When we talk about metaverse, it's about the places, it's about the community, the shared experiences that people come together. So that brings us to cultural shift. What believe that the metaverse is. It's a shift of culture, a transform of digital, a new age of community. So the new social, there's no more hidden identities. People can be anyone. There's no normal in the metaverse. The cooler you look, the weirder you look. Sometimes people kind of like that. You can look like a banana in a Pikachu with a Superman undies on the outside. It's kind of freedom. But this is just Comic-Con, the pictures that I have here. But once you think what it will look like in virtual, it means all these can be freedom to explore in the metaverse as well. Profile pictures is it's one of the identities that you see. People using this monkey, or people call Bored Ape. A lot of influencers, a lot of stars are using this. Justin Bieber, Eminem, using Bored Ape as their profile pictures. Somehow to show the status, or somehow to have a statement. So that's a bit to be explored. Customization in the metaverse opens up to the new world of sales expression. As I said, people can use the various platforms to kind of post, dress how they want. This is a platform called like Sepetto. This is another platform called Ready Player Me, where they're already working with a lot of brands. You can see here like Gucci, having a branded clothing. And this is not NFTs. This is just a website that has, kind of avatars for people to roam around while working together with brands. So we can say something like business to avatars. Where brands can put logos on the shirts, and that's where people come to explore, and then that's where the platform gives the shares to the brand. Gen Z will make way for Gen Me. Be myself, act how I want, be an influencer in the metaverse, be an influencer in a Sandbox, be a superhero. That's transitioning from Generation C, Generation A to the new generation. Bring us to transformation of digital. So it's not just about digital transformation anymore. Like when I say that everything is being connected, a seamless communication between places, which is the metaverse, people, which is us as a user, and then products, NFTs, e-commerce, connected. Even Web3 and Web2 products are becoming more closer together and intertwined and connected. So what about virtualization? How does business of today go virtual? So at the heart of transformation is virtualization. So if you ask, right, what's the difference of digital transformation or digitization to virtualization? One key that I could show is that it's more immersive. things in the 3D world you see here, it's like a sandbox where people can freely create, freely immerse and use the different tools to go to the next level of working online. So imagine, this guy is working with another dashboard, but this person is being hosted in Bangkok, while these other two dashboards are his co-workers in a different office scattered around the world. But they are working together to design this new island, for example. So that's the difference that virtual can give beyond 2D screens. Or this person playing his game, creating his own, kind of sandbox game. So this is the technology here is VR AR that you can see, which is a crucial part as well when you talk about getting into the metaverse. Digital as information, digital as a destination. So that's what I said, that we are going beyond what we call that, because when you hear about digital, you hear about a lot about analytics, data, but now virtual is, or the digital places are being used as destinations. This kind of unlocks a lot more potential use cases. Things like a shift in reality where people can have new businesses online. So this is Ariana Grande together, launching her song in the Metaverse platforms. But if you don't want to call it Metaverse, you can call it a 3D virtual platform. You can call it an online socializing platform. So that's the things that can happen. So we're talking about music in the digital era, in the virtual era, where there can be many more ways of interaction beyond just having her own, music video in YouTube, or this one. This is now combining what we call esports. Esports is going beyond sports. Like the market cap of esports, it's $1 billion plus economy. So you see them, hosting as serious as sport teams. Esports such as basketball, playing real games. Online games are becoming esports. Formula One esports, basketball esports. This is another kind of industry which is gonna adopt the metaverse, as the first ones. And they already have a following, a crowd, a community of their own. People are paying for tickets to watch their favorite players playing esports. So this is just a 6-year-old kind of industry which came with the online streaming, if you might know as Twitch, which is a streaming app, and that kind of disrupts the streaming platforms like YouTube or Snapchat, that came before. Big brands, are starting to sell their products as NFTs. So Nike just, joined and kind of bought the major shares of the company called RTFKT, or pronounced in the NFT community as Artifact. So they're launching, their own shoes for the metaverse, and we're gonna see in a second how they combine it to the real world. Or Fortnite is a well-known kind of game platform, which is a lot of millions and millions of dollars. Kids are already buying, selling, these NFTs in the games. And we call this a game, an online game, not a metaverse, right? So it's an interesting argument to say, is metaverse an online game or is it not? whatever it is, people come online and interact, and they do real transactions, and they do really buy and sell products or game assets or online platform assets in these kind of online places, right? Virtual, feeling more real. So this is a digital avatar, that I have here. So with all the production techniques, people or avatars are becoming an alternative, to people hiring influencers or people interacting with accounts in social media now. We call this virtual human. So Wasabi Ventures also have a virtual human agency called Dream Creatures. So this right here that I have in front of you is the 4 virtual human that are the top ones in Bangkok, in Thailand. So this one is Kati. We pronounce it Kati, meaning, the coconut milk. But in English, you can say Katie, can be her name. She's in front of many billboards and also magazines, so people are adopting and experimenting in this new way of branding, for the metaverse. Consumers or brands, are embracing, leveraging this kind of opportunity. So you can't really say Pokemon is not famous, but now Pokemon is going beyond just a game. It's more like a culture, it's a shift, So it now depends heavily back to the brands themselves, how they can leverage this technical and latest hardware and software, into tapping into this new world. Yep. Every surface becoming a screen. So Microsoft has already been a pioneer in the HoloLens. You see them since 6 years ago. Also Google Glasses, 5 years ago, Google Glass. And then now Facebook has already bought Oculus, So these technologies are already here and ready. And they're getting cheaper and cheaper, ready for consumer use, in the real world. And these sets of glasses and headsets, which provides the user with real, screen close to their eye interfaces, can be bought, and explored. Some interesting use cases that I have seen, businesses use, because a lot of you guys tuning in today might be from businesses, are things like, imagine a really important business where you have to really pitch to your customers, from overseas. And the important part that you don't want your customers to do, although you want them to see your great idea, is to do screen capture, right? I believe many of you guys are already screen capturing this, kind of presentation, but there's a limit, I can't really control the computer. But maybe if you guys can send this headset, to your customer before the demo, and then your customer can jump on board at the same time, I believe it would be a lot harder for the partner to kind of, record your idea, which is okay. They get to immerse freely than ever before. So that way of interacting, this kind of hardware is already prominent in the B2B side of things, especially in big investments, in the security industry. Imagine, hardware, softwares, where it's really secretive, That gets us to the 4th agenda very quick. We already passed almost half an hour. The new age of community. Because at the end of the day, if there's the 3 Ps, remember, place, which is the metaverse, which is the place, products, NFTs, e-commerce, and then the last one, the people, both living and virtual avatars. If there is no meaningful interaction, if there's no socialization, if there's no fun things to do, there wouldn't be, it would be no meaning. It would be meaningless. It would be like just a place, it would be just an empty online space. So I would say having a community would be the most important thing when it comes to these new generation things or the metaverse, right? So yeah, the community is again, powered by a lot of big names, So when we talk about building communities, there's already a lot of prominent platforms like Roblox, like Meta, like Sandbox, you've heard, for people to use the tools to create their own playground, and then there's also the creator side of things, easy tools for creators to use to buy, sell their digital assets, or even to create their NFTs, So I would say that in the back end of things, the foundation at its core, there's already a lot of tech companies coming to build the simple to use softwares, for us to experience this so-called metaverse, there's already many virtual worlds, like I mentioned, time and time, Decentraland is one of the most immersive metaverse worlds that they position themselves as a metaverse. Sandbox, you see a lot of big brands working with them, like Snoop Dogg, also Justin Bieber, Steve Aoki, Sepetto. This is a more like a kid friendly or kid generation, Gen A, Gen C, kind of young and cute, kind of stylized. And Fortnite is a bit more steered towards games. So you can choose freely, between the different platforms to build your own experience. The physical and digital are intertwining. What does this mean? So there you see Justin Bieber on top of a car, but he's having his own concert, which he's actually selling concert tickets. And you can see that already as a new economy. Justin Bieber wouldn't be live on YouTube as often as before. He would rather do something more immersive. So this one is an excerpt from his own, kind of 3D world. Justin Bieber also partnered with one of the startups, in bringing on this full kind of immersive music, next level music world, a fully crafted world where there's a lot of economies involved. You can really imagine that you want to send tips in real time to your favorite artist. This is something you can already have, in real time. You can see Justin Bieber in the VR or in your devices on stage, and probably he can see you as well. Sales technologies will create a deeper connection. It's when I talk about this, remember in the Web 2, there's a lot of data, but once you come into this way, brands have to work harder to utilize the existing new tools such as NFTs, tokens, point rewards, into creating a deeper connection with their people. Some of the new generations will be now demanding more and more, and then they have to utilize this new tech to integrate. So we're gonna see a lot of new experimental brands, coming up here and there, and then a lot of big brands, working with this kind of virtual fashion, you can say. I believe that Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, all are already jumping on board. Nike, Adidas, they're already into NFTs and stuff, And I also heard Nike, being the prominent brand, making a lot of money, jumping into the metaverse, creating rich data opportunities, so gaining automation, where data is now real time, sending in the blockchain. I'll just really skip, I want to really get to the food industry now. And yeah, there we go. I kind of tweaked the word a bit from today. I have around 20 more minutes to talk, but I want to really tweak it a bit. I don't want to say how the metaverse can help the food industry, because I believe food industry is never gonna die. We have to eat a lot, but I would like to change it to how can it enhance, the food experience using the tools that I talked about, which revolves around the metaverse, things like NFT, things like blockchain, things like metaverse platforms. How can we enhance the experience of food? That means eating food. That might mean also the business of food. That might also mean the logistics of food. So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna take a lot of use case here, just to, I believe it's easier to really learn by seeing the different things that already happened, So the world's first NFT restaurant, NFTs are now being used as NFT tickets to come to dine, So this world first NFT restaurant, this ticket, I believe, is quite expensive. Membership costs 2.5 Ethereum. That's around $40,000. Sorry, $4,000 right now for this basic level, and around $7,000 USD. For this, But what you get, is of course the experience, the food, the lounge, the cocktails. But who knows, they said in this website that this experience is prepared by the world's top chef, and probably this ticket is not gonna go away. I heard that after you eat the first time, you're gonna get a lot of discounts for the second time, third time. But who knows, if this limited, 1 out of 2,650 NFTs are sold out, or even one of the VIP 385 NFTs are being sold out, I might not have a chance to eat with this #1 chef in the world anymore. So this is something to think about now. Do I take the bet to pay upfront today and become a member? Either a basic level FF or a special FFO course? I have to decide for myself. An on-ground Bored Ape restaurant, Bored and Hungry. You can see people using Bored Ape in creating their own use case scenarios, of eating French fries, burger restaurants, and people are queuing up, just to try what it is. Is there a monkey patty involved? The world's first food wars. This one, I went through them a bit. They are trying to integrate gaming with the food token, and they say you can really earn and use their token at the farmers market. And from that, since you're already using the tokens to buy real food and vegetables and greens, you can use that points that you earn into playing games in the metaverse, in the gaming zone. So you can see there, they are already connecting, This doesn't mean the farmers market that they already have somewhere somehow stops accepting cash, I believe there's a transition, definitely in every new product, in every new service, there's a slow adoption and eventually a fast adoption, but of course the first people who gets on board will get to try this kind of new game zone. Wine NFT, I talked this last month also in the food ingredients talk about the wine NFT. This is just one of them. I saw a lot of them. One of the other interesting one being people really investing in the real wine that's being kept, And when we talk about NFTs, sometimes it's really controversial, but controversial in a sense that, are you buying just a picture? But what if a wine brand says upfront that if you buy this wine NFT, you own this bottle of 30-40 year age wine, and then we also verify that it's authentic. So, and then a lot of times you want to keep that wine in the wine cellar and not bring it out, but still remember that the NFTs can still be sold in the secondary market. People who really wants to invest in the wine can purchase this NFT, sell it to another one, sell it to the third person, fourth person, so forth. While the website or the brand of the marketplace here called Block Bar could potentially verify that this is real, and this is being kept somewhere in Italy, for example. So that's what I said, when we really want to bring closer the real on-ground business together with this trackable NFT. Yeah, Hell's Kitchen. Gordon Ramsay himself is entering the platform called Sandbox that I talked about, creating his own kind of game. Sandbox, I'd like to call it a Metaverse game platform where people can come and play and maybe do some chef table by Gordon himself. I don't know if you can talk to the real Gordon, And the other crucial, of immersive VR AR, can bring the enhanced experience of dining. Wow, look at that. That's a VR mask right there. So everyone gets a VR. Imagine you go with 2 or 3 of your friends, you can see a friend wearing a fox mask while your friend sees you wearing a cat mask. So this technology has been there for 10 years already, but it's just becoming more approachable, more experienceable. A ticket for a restaurant like this, in Thailand would cost you just over $150 for this 2-hour dining experience where they bring you, a full scale kind of storyline tailored food, which in my experience, I have kind of went to this one. It really gives that wow factor. This is a Le Petit Chef in Bangkok, with a storyline of a little chef bringing you your fresh foods. It gives, I would call it a wow factor, but it's really something to be amazed, of what the online foods can do, when we talk about things for the metaverse, right? You're gonna see here little chef him preparing the foods and everything, and then yeah, preparing your dish. And maybe you guys can now imagine, what you could do. This is a lot of investment, into making this happen. But then how can we imagine it in a simple way? I was joking with my friend this morning when I realized that I have to come to a talk with food ingredients today. I was thinking that since the COVID era, because I believe COVID is still there in some countries, they're still worried. Can we have a chef table but at home, where you get your food from Uber Eats, Grab Food, or delivered to your home together with a QR code you can scan, and probably wear VR headset, instead of having to leave your house in the COVID, especially in China where they're trying to lock down everyone. You can still have this experience but at home. So that's really something to think about, and the investments in the business side are becoming smaller and smaller. This is something more experimental. I showed this last time as well. This was 2 years ago, I think, but she is tasting food in VR. Sorry, it doesn't look good, but I believe it interesting. You know, so again, the food, I would say it's going beyond the boundaries of physical things being like gravity. There's no gravity in the metaverse. In terms of immersiveness, no one is telling you in the metaverse that food must look good. Maybe in 10 years, 15 years, we should be eating something like this because we are being short of food. Who knows? Who knows? Global warming, and people are going to have to eat what they have, but have to wear an AR headset. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just putting it here as a point of discussion. This video, I believe, is like, wow, back in 2019 or something, or 18. So many things to really think about when it comes to food and VR. And a lot of tech is already integrated. This is just an experimental, but now, 4 or 5 years from then, everything is already possible. Do you still need to travel on the real cruise if you can go on a virtual cruise? So things like this, it gives you a question. Is it the time now? 5 years later, in COVID, post-COVID, or even looking into 1 year, 2 year, 3 years from now. Or people have been using blockchain, to kind of find something really more connected and more, delivering back to kind of the society. And then this is one that I found, my team found in Wasabi found this morning, is it's not found this morning, sorry, I got from my teammates this morning, but a really interesting one about investing into the kind of a CSR, where they would use the proceeds from from what we pay into buying this maybe food chain global token, and then kind of donating. And then, of course, in the website, you can read more about what they're doing with their food token. But yeah, with the belief of everyone should have the basic need, of having food to eat, right? And yeah, that's really much it for today that I've prepared. Wasabi Ventures will also be in the Metaverse booth in Foods Ingredients Asia, coming up soon. So if you guys interested or have questions, feel free to add me on the various social media platforms. I like to connect. If you want to talk deeper into the food industry, I know what I touched about today is really just bringing you the many different use cases that kind of relate to the different technologies, right? In the metaverse, AR, VR. We talked about NFTs, the wine NFT, which can really authenticate if it's the real wine, and can be purchased and sold in a secondary market. Your wine will, of course, grow in value over years. We talked about opening restaurants, related to the NFT in real life, right? We talk about using blockchain, as a kind of a token, as a symbol of, getting food to every people in the world. And the many questions we have to ask ourselves, in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, of whether this all virtual transformation, digital transformation, big companies, jumping into this hardware and software, NFTs, metaverse. What does it mean really for us, as the end user, as the user or as a business, as an SME in the food industry, as an SME exporting or importing, food related products, which is, the core foundation of the world, people going to wars, that's happening, the situation that we don't really want to happen in the world, are raising the commodity prices as much as 10-20% or even more, inflation because of the war, of the governments, a few governments losing its stability, around the world. So I think that kind of poses a lot of questions, of what we can do as getting to know a lot of these tools, hardware and software, to implement more or less, back into our business. So yeah, I would like to really, thank Food Ingredients Asia, for this amazing opportunity, for giving me to share about our view, at least my team's view or Wasabi Ventures view of the metaverse and the food industry. So thank you very much, Common Crab.
Kun Sam, and thank you. It's very fruitful content. Maybe for the next technology for the customer experience will be the metaverse. And I have been experienced in one time to visit the food manufacturing in Thailand. They have the restaurant itself with the projector mapping. The projector mapping in the plate.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Actually, they said that to explain what kind of the ingredient they have been used for our meal, and it's very interesting for me. But in one of their aim, I think, because of the traceability,
right?
What they cook, and
right.
And I think in the near future, we might see the station or the kiosk with the glasses for the visitor to walk around the exhibition by virtually.
Yeah, like Kunanopong said. Yeah, like even because like what we see on our plate that we eat is now, right?
Yes.
We don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes from Talat Thai, or maybe it comes from, I don't know, some supermarket. We don't know. Yeah, at least the storyline behind that they kind of project. That's a new good to know stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come now to the end of the webinar. Today, I hope you are satisfied with this webinar. On behalf of the Informa Market, the organizer of the event, I would like to say thank you, Mr. Sam, for your valuable presentation, and to our audience for your attention. Last but not least, I would like to remind to all that FiA Asia online event is going from today until end of October. Please stay tuned for more food and beverage industry knowledge and insight from the FiA Asia. And now we already launched the event app for you to reach the largest food and beverage market in Southeast Asia, and it's available now for both Google Play and App Store. Lastly, and if you're interested in the metaverse technology and need to explore the metaverse in deep for the new customer experience, we would like to welcome you all to meet Kun Sam and all the metaverse team in person at FiA Asia Thailand. The show will be held at 5 to 7 October at QNCC. Thank you and have a good day. ครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ Thank you สวัสดีครับ